having an awesome day. And in this video, guys, we're going to be looking at 50 Minecraft survival tips, some things that are going to help you out in your game tremendously. Some of these tips are going to help you with game knowledge, other ones are going to be little tricks that you probably didn't know about, but overall this should improve your game significantly and is going to make your survival experience that much better. Now before we jump into the tips today, guys, I worked unbelievably hard on this video, so if we could shoot for an insane like goal of 5,000 likes, I would really appreciate that. And of course, if you are new around here and this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome, and there's going to be plenty more Minecraft videos to come, so make sure to go ahead and subscribe and stick around for much more. And let me know down below in the comment section which one of these tips in this video helped you the most. I'd love to know what it is so I can help you guys make better guides in the future. But without further ado, guys, let's get into the top 50 Minecraft survival tips to help you out in your game. Tip number 50, guys, is going to be staircase mining. Now, as some of you may or may not know, digging straight down in Minecraft is never a good idea, and probably one of the safer ways to go about it is by doing something called staircase mining, where you leave a block after you've already mined a certain level so you can kind of jump back onto it after you've gone deep enough and you want to get out. What this ends up doing is it makes it a lot safer so you don't fall, and also makes it tremendously easier to escape once you're done mining in that particular cave. So in general, I always recommend you incorporate some kind of staircase mining depending on where you're going. Tip number 49 is a nice little trick that will save your life when using a water bucket. Now, in general, I recommend you carry a water bucket, and we're going to talk about all the things you can do that are useful with that a little bit later. But one certainly thing you can do if you're falling from a high up place is to save yourself by placing water at the right moment before you hit the ground. And the way you do this is spam your jump button and also spam your place button as you're falling. And just before you hit that last block, that water should be able to save you and you'll take no damage at all. Number 48 is going to be to isolate your ores when mining. For example, I'm going to show you right here what this could look like if you stumble across some diamonds and they're maybe in a little bit of a rough spot. That could be dangerous if you lose them and you mine them in the wrong spot. The best way to do this is to cut out everything around it so the block is sort of just hovering, and then when you know it's safe, you go ahead and pick up that very valuable ore, because the last thing you'd want to have happen is to mine that ore and it ends up falling into a lava pit or somewhere where you just can't reach it. Number 47 is going to be using your swimming mechanic properly. Now, before I got back into Minecraft, the swimming mechanic was not a thing, and so when I got back into the game, this was all brand new to me. But when you hold shift while you're underwater, you go into a swimming animation and you go significantly faster than you would if you were just sort of like wading in the water. And so this is the best way to transport. You can cover some pretty nice ground doing this. If you come out of the water, you will leave your swimming animation, but it is the best way to swim hands down. Coming in at number 46 is going to be making coal blocks for better efficiency. Now, I recommend doing this in a couple circumstances. Either if you're going to be transporting a lot of coal from one area to another and you want to save space, it's good to make them into blocks. But also, if you just want to maybe burn a little bit more materials, then coal blocks are better to do it than just single individual ores. But either way, they're both very good. If you're doing some serious smelting, and I mean like absolutely serious, then probably make coal blocks, as the efficiency will count in that regard. But otherwise, you can do what you feel is necessary. Tip number 45 is going to be trading simple items to villagers to get emeralds. I don't ever recommend your primary source of emeralds being mining it, because you're just not going to find too many. If you trade simple items like some vegetables or whatever you have at your hand to get some emeralds to begin with, trade up with some other villagers, and then eventually work your way up to maybe getting diamonds from some of them or just some really top tier stuff, that is the best way to make use of all your excess items you don't want, and then also use your emeralds, because you can't make tools out of that kind of stuff. You also really have no other use for emeralds besides maybe decoration, but I really recommend using those as a currency to get good stuff from the villagers, after trading your throwaway items, of course. Tip number 44 is going to be using your gold nuggets to make healing items. Odds are, after you've done quite a bit of mining, you're going to end up with a bit of excess gold, and clearly you're not going to really want to make that your primary source of tool making. So what you can do with all that excess gold? Making gold nuggets and then placing it on a lot of your food items is going to be the best healing item you could ever give yourself. Golden healing items are the best thing to have against the fight if you're facing a really difficult enemy, or if you're just in a lot of trouble and you don't want to lose your stuff and die. A gold healing item can instantly restore you back to full health and can save you from a lot of bad scenarios. Number 43 is going to be using redstone to make safety doors. Now, the best way to do with all your excess redstone is to maybe make some kind of safe for your valuables, and then make it so only the door will open with an iron door using redstone. You can open it from wherever the trail leads, wherever you want the lever to be to get into that safe, but it's a good thing to hide all your valuables. Number 42, if you're ever exploring underwater and you come across one of these temples, odds are you're going to find some underwater zombies, and these guys can be a little bit tough, and some of them throw tridents, which travel really fast underwater and can just absolutely beam you. Now, and your problem is bows aren't super effective effective down here. However, you can still use them. But what you're going to notice is that your bow drops off significantly while it's in the water, but you can still damage if you compensate a little bit and just aim higher. I don't recommend you fight these things unless you absolutely have to, but that's the best way to go about it to keep them away at a distance, is to compensate with your bow a bit if you're stuck underwater. If you are going to be traveling underwater and swimming and exploring, then if you have armor and enchantments at this point, I recommend going for the ones that are specifically made for the water. For example, you can get an enchantment on your helmet that actually allows you to breathe for longer underwater. You can also get an enchantment on your boot that makes you be able to swim much faster while you're underwater, even if you're in that swimming animation, and it's great. I absolutely recommend it if you're going to be doing any kind of water exploring. Number 40 is kind of an organizational tip that I think will help you in the long run. I recommend when storing food, you have two different chests. You have one for cooked materials and things that are ready to be used, and then you have another chest for raw materials, just so when you kind of mix things up together, it gets a little bit disorganized. And if you do it right, making food, keeping the production up, and then also organizing your raw and then cooked resources makes your life way